Hey, what are you mixed with? It's like asking me to pick quick a heritage that you can fit neat in your mind so that your insult ain't embarrassing. And it's embarrassing because all you really want to hear is, well, I'm kind of Puerto Rican. My grandma, auntie, cousin, New Yorican. When the truth is, way back when some slave master fucked my slave kin, and all I have to show for it is lighter skin that makes me stand out. So you repeat your question and box me back in. So, like, what are you mixed with? I'm mixed with the blood of a million men marching and cocoon dreams that never grew to butterflies. And you have the nerve to ask if I'm black because my back doesn't crack at your vernacular lash. My spine is the Underground Railroad. My vertebrae are kings and queens. I have lungs made for an ox, hands that pick cotton and fuck up pressers, feet that have been dragged from North Carolina back down to Mississippi to learn my place. My grandfather, I believe his name was Stanley. But too often he was mistaken for boy, like, hey boy, are you on the wrong side of that bridge? Hey boy, don't you belong where your people live? Every day, on his walk home from school, a squad car would pull up on his side and say, hey boy, get in the back. I'm taking you back to where you came from. When they reached his house, my great-grandfather, I believe his name was Charles, but too often, but not often enough, he was mistaken for sir. Excuse me, sir. This boy says he lives here. My great-grandfather, eyes the color of cotton stems and ivory-colored skin, would say, that boy is my son. This would happen at least once a day. When everything was cleared up, little Stanley would run inside, hug his mother's cold-colored skin and say, it happened again today, Mommy. Are you going to come outside and play today, Mommy? My great-grandmother, I believe her name was Catherine, but too often she was mistaken for housemaid. Housemaid because even though her skin was ebony, her coffee brown curls could not hide a breeding affliction. At least that's what they called it. One day, when patrolled house calls made Charles boil over with rage, he invited Catherine to sit on the porch with him. When they brought young Stanley home that day, sir, this boy says he lives here. My great-grandfather, a gentleman with a Barbados accent as thick as his beard, said, this boy is my son. This woman is my wife, and I, sir, am not a white man. But if I were, I would not carry shame the way you carry hate. I do not know if my grandfather was ever thrown in the back of a squad car for being too brown south of State Street again, but I do know 70 years later, I am politely harassed when you ask what it is I am mixed with. So my arrogance won't allow your ignorance to pick a culture for me. This isn't the first time I've been asked to unzip skin from body and attempt to hang skeletons in closet. They want to know why my roots don't kink. I've been conditioned to lather rinse, don't repeat my history until it's such a mystery that my family tree boasts ghosts hanging from forgotten limbs, singing forgotten hymns, wondering how you've forgotten about them. They say sometimes you talk different, like sometimes your pronunciation fails to encase what they accept as proper conversation, like you speak really well. Why you talk so white? Well, thank you for noting my elegant eloquence. My dialect is colored purple. I switch through different hues so you can spot color me. I default to violet. Just dark enough to be beautiful, hurt enough to get violent, but I won't get violent. I won't throw fists of lilac color fury when you ask me where my homeland is. And if my parents trace their lineage to a line of auction blocks and ocean liners. When you ask again, what I am mixed with, why my pigment is just brown enough to still be a person of interest, I will shrug, the way I always do, and chalk my color and curl up to unsure breeding, mutter something about islands and Native Americans, and I'll say, a bit of everything, I guess. But you don't deserve to know the stories of my skin, why it seems that a few different cultures have colored me in. My grandfather, I believe his name is Stanley. But too often he remembers what it's like to be called boy. Told me once, be proud of who you are. You are mixed with the blood of warriors that stretch over 3 continents. So when people ask you what you are mixed with, let them assume, and so I do. And when you look at me, gleam in your eye, puff in your chest and say, I knew it. You had to be mixed with something. I'll smile politely, swallow my arrogance in gulps, and remember that I am a warrior.